New Hampshire, as the president said the other night, live free or die. Get that in your soul, my friend. What do you want to be? You want to be a little slave pushed around? You're more important than that. If you can feel that, it may end up in your martyrdom. I don't know, but it will end up in your having a much happier and much more successful life. But in any event, the United States today, let's focus on today for a moment. The United States created a new wave of airstrikes against roughly 90 targets, mostly different than the 7-day they hit the first night, the 80 they hit the next night. A little bit of repetition to make sure they're out. Inside Iran, according to the Central Command, the stated objective was to reduce Iran's ability to threaten shipping in the Gulf of Hormuz. 70% of the attacks, of which there have been about 270 now, have been focused on wiping out any ability they have to threaten anything in the Gulf of Hormuz. And now it's moving inland. So if they have inland launchers, gone. And what they have left is isolated, hard to find, and sporadic. Not anything that would create systemic danger, but occasional danger. And in a situation like this, occasional danger can operate as a big psychological deterrent to taking your ship through. It's like, well, gee, I don't know if it's perfectly safe. So I think the objective of the United States military and our brilliant president is to make this objectively safe. When he finishes this, America will control both sides of the Gulf of Hormuz. We control the Arabian side now with their cooperation. Obviously, we don't control the Iranian side. Do you want to show it, Ted, on the map? It might be easier if we show it on the map. I want you to understand this. Can we make that bigger? It's a little small for me to see. I have a copy here, but my copy is much bigger. So if you can see, I don't know if you can make that bigger anyway. Can you all see the red dots? The red dots are the places that we've hit in the first 2 days. I don't have a map yet that incorporates the 90 attacks today. The 90 attacks today will be somewhat repetitious of what you see here, but probably expanded by about 15 or 20. So you look at Bandar Mashar. Bandar Mashar is a place in which they can shoot ships that are beginning their voyage out of the Strait of Hormuz. Bushehr is, if they get past that, gone. Can't do it now. Okay? Now, if we go down to Qasem Island, it has largely been denuded. That is the place where there's a different reason for Qasem Island. Yes, they have aggressive weapons there, and they're out. But mostly what they have is stored oil. With these hits, a lot of that has been destroyed. That's billions of dollars gone for Iran. Gone. Bye-bye. And Trump is talking about taking it over so he can take the oil. You know he will. You know he'll take the oil. He's a businessman, like he took it from Venezuela. We'll go sell that oil for ourselves to kind of offset the expense they're causing us and trying to make them human. So Qasem Island, which was a great dispute, are we going to take it, aren't we? Seems to me he's crossed the threshold and decided to take it. Probably the generals, and I listen to General Keane a lot. Bandar Abbas is probably the single biggest target for us. That's where they have their best offensive weapons that can shoot into the Gulf and do what they did 4 days ago to start all this, to shoot at 2 tankers and do damage, shoot at a 3rd tanker and do marginal damage, and possibly shoot at a 4th British tanker, who honestly seems to be afraid to say it's the Iraqis. But after all, we still have a Labor government, sissy Labor government there, who is, they're not pro-Muslim, they're pro-disruption. They're pro anything to disrupt the world so we can become communists. They haven't figured out that if they should succeed, which they're not, and this is what happened in the Iranian revolution back in 78, 79. If they both get there, so you have it incorporated individually in one person, more than one, but one person that's very famous, Mamdani. Mamdani is a Muslim extremist. He admires all the Muslim murderers and killers. He has them on his staff, people who support them, people who love them. He does everything he can to make it clear that he's going to insult the Christian, the Jewish, and the non-believing Muslim community in New York. So that's Mamdani, the Islamic extremist supporter, as mayor of New York. Hard to believe, a city that has suffered more than any city in America from extremist Muslim philosophy. Because every one of the people who came to kill them did it in the name of the God that he worships, Allah. The God on which he took his oath of office, Allah. And a Quran that I seriously doubt was edited to remove the orders from Allah to kill us and to not be friends with Christians and Jews and to kill us, which is why the people coming in to kill us were yelling out, Allah Akbar, in the name of our God. Now, do you know Allah was, let's do this God thing straight out. Allah was the sun god for 1,000 years for the various pagan religions in Persia and Arabia. Well, he moved around too. He was also sort of a rather lower level god too, which is why the Arabs basically threw this guy out. So did the Jews and the Christians. And then he went out into the desert and he got the illiterate and he got them to do what they like to do just in nature, which is to kill people. And they came in and they killed as many Jews, Christians, and Arabs who didn't agree with them as possible. And that's how we established a religion. Convince them if you can, kill them if you can't. You remember that in Christianity? I don't know. I remember Jesus saying, convince them if you can, kill them if you can't. I remember Jesus saying, forgive the people who kill me. So, I don't know if you can see all this, but over the last 3 days, this is the last 2 days. This map doesn't conclude today. This is just the last 2 days. We have taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their 9 of their major facilities, which create the possibility of their firing on ships going through the Gulf of Hormuz. They have taken out they have shot at 1, 2, 3 targets. And one successful attack on 2 tankers. So that's 270 bombardings of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 targets. And in their case, attacks on the Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait, no damage done. Damage done, no lives lost. Isa Air Base in Bahrain, 2 attacks, no damage of any kind. That's it. That's what they've done. When the president said, this is the attack that he announced and said, I'm going to announce this attack because they are completely neutered. They can't do a damn thing about it. They did not kill any of our combatants or any of the Arab combatants who assisted us. On the other hand, we destroyed large portions of their attempt to block shipping in the Gulf of Hormuz. Now, I don't have the results. These are the results from the first 2 days. Today, we did more attacks than the first day, approximately the same amount of attacks the second day, with reportedly the same degree of success. But we won't see that completely until tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident that we did. So what we're doing is, first, before anything else, because the president is convinced that the Gulf of Hormuz will have a big effect on the world economy, which will have a big effect on the mood of the whole thing, how much support we have going forward. If the president is correct, and he always is, the reality is that after, maybe we'll do another day or two of these. I don't know how much is left. They offered no, as far as I can tell, and I'll take a better look later because you'll get some of these results later tonight. And I'll get some of my material later tonight. What we'll be able to tell is, did they have any, how much success did they have? Because that'll tell us how much they have left. Now, they no doubt they're saving a little so that they can protect the interior of Iran. This is this area over here. I don't know if you can see this. My finger is like, this area over here is where the capital is, where Qom is, Tehran, the capital. So they are saving something to protect that. And we'll have to penetrate that and see what that is. But this is a 1 to 2 week mission. And I believe the mission is, so the end result of this is that they go flee somewhere. They run away. You want to know what success is here? The administration will not define it this way because maybe it's a little beyond what they think they can accomplish. But I think they can. I think maybe 2 to 3 weeks from now, you and I can be talking about an Iran with a real rebirth of freedom and the possibility. You got to create it, not the reality, the possibility of freedom. Wow. It beats an agreement that they're going to lie about, doesn't it? So I can take you through a lot of other cities they hit. Shabadar, Bandar Abbas, critical target that they took out. Major defensive facilities there. Major offensive facilities there. Gone. Qashem, you've been hearing about Qashem forever. We basically control it now. All of the backup oil and gas that would take care of Iran for the next year is sitting there. We control it now. I don't know. Tomorrow, Trump may start selling it. You know Trump, right, Bob? You know Trump?
I hope he does.
It'd be like having the Venezuelan oil and gas. I got their gas and their oil.
I hope that's exactly what he does.
They also hit Abu Masa, another city, another island similar to Qashem, not as big. And then in the Gulf port city of Bushehr, from which they do a lot of shipping. More than 60 of their small boats, which are ones that terrorize the tankers, have been destroyed. They've been they're not around anymore. They do not exist. They are not part of the universe. So each night we hit between 70 and 90 targets on an escalating scale. So 7, 14, 20, we're at a minimum of 220. We're at a maximum of 816. We're at a maximum of about 250 of their ships that they use to terrorize I don't know how many they have, but I can't imagine it was too much more than that. Maybe in the 400s, 500. And I don't know how long we're going to continue this. I have a suspicion it'll be until the weekend. the president has said, which is, he's never said this before. And I don't know if they pay attention to him because they're a bunch of arrogant zealots, right? He said no more negotiation. I don't know when he's ever said that before, right?
Right. That's a new.
They have pushed.
development.
Now President Trump has dismissed negotiations as a waste of time, casting aside any diplomatic niceties by describing Iran's rulers in stark terms: liars, cuckoo, sick people, scum. And as this columnist, Mark Dubowitz, concludes, and he's right.
Okay.
Unlike much of Washington, Trump has long grasped the Islamic Republic and negotiates only to keep itself afloat. I can attest to that because I knew him back in the mid-1980s. And I don't know when, but somewhere between 1980 and 1986 or 87, I heard him express a view that I agree with, which is part of what kind of made him a political supporter ultimately, which is the sooner and the faster we eliminate this regime, the more people will live. This is a long-held view, and it's the correct one. And it flies in the face of the feeling that if you do it in too dramatic a way or too quick a way, you're going to lose more lives than you save. I have always felt that pacifist thought was a terrible mistake, given how evil these people are. But we're beyond that now, I think. The original negotiations were often negotiations, but the minute you offer them negotiations, they're into that. They know how to do that. They buy time. This time, the conclusion of this intelligent report is Iran badly miscalculated. Now, they were confused by the mixed signals emanating from Washington, which might have contributed to the big mistake they made. But that's part of warfare. If you thought that constantly Donald Trump was throwing out the correct signals, you're out of your effing mind. Now, it is important to note, and I'm not sure I can't interpret all of them. When is he throwing out the right ones and when is he throwing out the wrong ones? If you can easily interpret that, then he's like the pitcher who gives away his fastball. Every time he throws a fastball, he goes like this. Now I know it's a fastball. If I'm a major league hitter and I know it's a fastball, I don't care how fast your fastball is, unless it has miraculous motion, I'm going to hit the damn thing out of the ballpark. Now, if you take that tongue, put it inside, and you throw your fastball like you throw your 84-mile-an-hour changeup, man, you can be a pitcher, sweetheart. Sometime watch the Babe Ruth biography with William Bendix, and you'll learn about baseball. When his girlfriend teaches Babe when she's pitching for the Red Sox, will you stop putting your tongue out every time you throw a curveball, jackass? That's why they hit it out of the ballpark. So I'm gonna Mark Dubowitz, who I don't know Mark Dubowitz, but I do know that I agree with him a lot. He's the chief executive of the Foundation for Defensive Democracy. I do believe the conclusion of his article today is very good advice. So I'm going to give you the sum of it. Mark, this is very, very good. The lesson for the U.S. is that it must stop negotiating with a regime that weaponizes negotiation. Iran's nuclear infrastructure must be dismantled and its enriched uranium stockpile completely destroyed. We need to reimpose the blockade on Iranian ports. Iran's ability to export oil must be permanently revoked. Frozen assets should remain frozen. rather than being used to finance the regime's next bout of terrorism. That money should be saved for when a decent democratic values republic is established in Iran and has proven it. And then we can give them trillions. I don't care how much we give. Crushing sanctions need to be enforced with no loopholes. The president should direct the U.S. military to just unequivocally win the Battle of Hormuz and have America take over Hormuz and throw the Iranians out. I added that part. But it is pretty much what Mark has been saying. And he thinks that we should set up maritime insurance organizations that might encourage some of these somewhat less brave shipping owners to go through. And if we get the first 3 or 4 through, having now done, I think we're going back tomorrow. I wish the president let me go there and I could take a look at what the hell's left. What could possibly be left of the eastern shore of the Strait of Hormuz? They've been hitting that damn thing for during the war. They were hitting it every day. They're hitting it every day now. If there's a gun somewhere there, the guy's really doing a good job of hiding it. They've been bombing that place like crazy.
Could the American military go in and occupy the oil?
American military could go in and occupy Kasham, which is where the oil is. But here's the problem. Can you put the map up again, Ted? And I can explain.
Then we don't even have to declare war. Just say, hey, we just took over your oil.
So what I want you to do on the map, and unfortunately we don't have the other device here, which we'll fix for tomorrow. But let's look at the upper. You see where Bandashar is? Can you see Bandashar and Badar Abbas? Those are the key places. Sarik. Forget the lower places. The lower places are the Arab countries. You can see that Bahrain, right there where the red mark is the Emirates. So now we go above that, and we see Bandar Abbas hit now 2 days in a row. Bushehr to the left hit today. Why are they hit? Because they have guns and they have ships. Their guns are pointed into the Gulf. They are the ones that are there that hit the 2 ships that were turned back. They're the threat that people who own these tankers, the legitimate, I don't know how legitimate, it's a crazy industry, but the quasi-legitimate members of the industry say, I'm not sending my tanker through because they're going to shoot a rocket from Bandar Abbas and take it out. Well, if there's no more Bandar Abbas, they can't. That's what we're doing right now. And we were doing it 2 months ago. A third of our attacks were along up and down the shore of the Strait of Hormuz, to the strait and then below the strait. We're doing it again now to the point of 270 attacks. I don't know what they have left. I don't know. Whatever they have left could produce one shocking mistake. But if you put 200 ships through, if they got 2 or 3 of them, it would be a lot. If they came out with none, I would not sit here shocked. That's what we're trying to accomplish right now. And until they concede in some way, we'll just continue to do that. So that whole area will be wiped out and we'll control it. That is exactly what we're doing now. We're not describing it that way. We're being much more vague about it. But we are now, the American military is now taking control of the Strait of Hormuz. And the victory here will be if we do. And eliminate any possibility that they can hit anyone that goes through there. You and I should be able to go through there with our little boat and not have to worry. That's where they're trying to get. Now that's hard to get there because all you need is one stupid gun that you missed, right? And the minute they do that, the New York Times says they're winning, right? That could be the last shite that shows they've lost. But the Times won't see it that way, and it's important. Ted, there was an issue about Air Force One, and I was going to talk to Kara about it because I do believe she has some information about it. But what is this situation with Air Force One? And I'll give you a little time to think about it because we do have to take a little break. Let's take a little break. And when we come back, I want to know, why didn't the president get on the new Air Force One? And did he eventually get on it? Good.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Welcome back to the fastest 1 hour on television. He made that up. I didn't. See this guy right here? Does he have a camera on him, or is he hiding again? Because you know what happens to us? We don't have a very large staff. We have a relatively small staff. We don't have a staff, actually. There's our staff right there.
But a very smart one.
Yeah, very smart one. He can do the work of 50, and Dr. Maria pitches in, and I pitch in, and we all pitch in, and so does Ted. But the reality is, every time we put him on, we have a terrible problem, Rob. You know it. All those women call up, and they want to go out with him. And I constantly asked, is he married?
Yeah.
Which I think is good, because the liberals would love to not have it matter if you're married or not, right? Because they have no morals.
You're right.
But at least the people that watch us, they're thinking either if it's them, right, or it may be their parents who think you're a good catch.
Yeah, right. We're usually the parents. Yeah.
Because you look like a very, very,
Been shaved today.
you look like and you sound like a very responsible young man.
What's more?
And then, so me as a father, that's what I always wanted for my children. I wanted a wife or a daughter who was a very responsible, caring young person. There were the other things I didn't care about, whatever the superficial things are. And I have to say, both my children were very fortunate. I have a son-in-law that is beyond what I could imagine. He's a fabulous guy. And I have a daughter-in-law who I consider my second daughter.
Right. But what I think is funny, Mayor, how many people will ask if I'm your son? I don't think we look alike.
I don't think we look alike, but we're together all the time. I mean, I don't know. We don't look that different. It isn't as if as if I'm yellow and you're brown.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
I mean, we're sort of in the same category.
Yeah, you're darker skinned.
And I'm anytime you want, I'm willing to adopt you.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know, I think you're fabulous.
Oh, it's great.
The guy next to him, I think, is fabulous too. You got to know about this guy here. Oh yeah,
Little old me.
the little old Rob, man. This guy is fabulous. He can do anything.
Thank you, Mayor.
He's a magician, and he also smells out conspiracies like really, really well.
They're everywhere.
And about 10 years ago, you'd put him in a hospital. Now he's right.
Right.
Now he's right. So I have to do this in solidarity with my Italian American community. Now, my Italian American background is 2 generations old. It ended around 1900. So what the heck is that? 126 years ago. That was probably when my last grandparent left Italy, maybe earlier than that, because I have a document that was given to me when I was mayor, and they found it for me, of my grandfather going to Italy, 1905. But he already was a permanent resident alien of the United States, legal. He went back to Italy, and his little town of, and I'm going to go find this out this summer, Montecatini or Lucca, or both. And he went back there and he picked up his 2 sisters, younger, and he took them with them to the United States. Now, he had come to the United States some years earlier, 5, 6, 7. We can't find the other shipping document yet, which assumes that it happened before 1900, because we have all the documents from Ellis Island when Ellis Island took over for Clinton Castle. But he probably came in before the turn of 1890 to 1900. And those records were very poorly preserved. So we don't have yet, and I'm working on it. When did he first come in? What I do have is when my maternal grandmother first came in. She was the earliest arrival. She was in 1884. She was born in 1882, and she came here as a 2-year-old with her father, Vincenzo, who was a very, very successful entrepreneurial guy who owned tobacco shops, restaurants, bars, and a livery service, of which you can now still go see, hasn't been destroyed. The converted barn that he used for his horses in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. But we're talking about not this century, not the last century, the century before. That's when he came in. So my connection to Italy is pretty tenuous, right? You look at Pope Francis. Pope Francis, although constantly described as, where did he come from? Argentina, Venezuela? What, I mean, he seemed to be like very affected by communism. Where did he come from?
Pope Francis?
But he came from Italy. He was Italian.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Where
Okay.
he spent
So he came from Argentina, but his family were one generation from Italy.
Let's see.
My family, I'm like, what, am I second generation or third?
Your mother was born where?
My mother was born, oh, so I'm second. My mother was born in the United States and my father. And I was born in the United States, so I'm second generation.
Pope Francis was born in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, but his dad and mom were born in Italy.
Yes, Italian immigrant parents.
Like me, Italian immigrant
The
grandparents.
Flores neighborhood of, no, sorry.
So why am I saying that? Because the mayor of New York today put out an ethnic map of New York. Eliminated from the ethnic map are Italians. Now, Italians are getting all upset. But they also eliminate Irish and Jews. I don't know. I'm going to say to my Irish and Jewish friends who I grew up with, I grew up in a neighborhood that was 90% Irish, Italian, and Jewish twice. My neighborhood in Brooklyn was that way, and my neighborhood in Long Island was completely that way. Sometimes there are things about me that people think I'm Irish because I support Notre Dame. I love Ireland. When I went to Ireland, I felt like I was part of. They thought I was Irish, and so they looked at my name. Jewish. I've actually been described as Jewish. I'm actually in several official records as half Jewish.
Giuliani.
Yeah, not Giuliani, but other things.
There's a good joke about that.
And I'm Italian by background, but I grew up in that environment of Italian, Jewish, Irish. And this was a wonderful way to grow up. It doesn't mean we didn't have fights with each other and we didn't think we were better than the other and all this other crap, but we ultimately liked each other because we knew we had to get along with each other. We knew that we were all kind of hanging on. And this is really not me. This is more my grandfather and my parents who went through this, and the first generation and the second generation. They knew they had to amalgamate with these other people. My parents, who were exceptionally good people, and everybody likes to say this is really, had no prejudices. They had a very, very simple idea that America is not Italy. America is not Israel. America is not Dublin. America is not Germany. America is a combination of all these people. And the more you can get along with all of them, and the more you can find your common values, the better. And there is no reason to hate anybody because we have enough bad Italians to spend all our time hating them. So don't spend your time hating the bad Jews and the bad Irish and the bad this one and the bad that one, because Rudy, you got a lot of bad Italians you could hate if you wanted to. But how about we don't hate? How about we figure out how to work with the good ones in each group? And my father exemplified that, as did my mother, with a significant number of close personal friends in and out of my house who were Jewish and Irish. And then other things, Greek. But those were the two major groups. The other groups were also Polish. I became very, very close to a Polish priest. I'm not going to tell you why, but I did. I will tell you why. When I used to walk to school in the morning at Bishop Lockon High School. There was a beautiful Polish church about halfway on the walk. And the Polish priest there used to love to do confessions at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. He sat in the little confession booth for that. And I found, my friends told me, this is a great guy to go to confession to, because he doesn't understand you. So please, God, forgive me. I've confessed this already. Please, God, forgive me, because I went to him numerous times. And he would listen to my sins. And he would say, 3 Hail Marys and 3 Our Father all the time. I think I could have said to him, I murdered my best friend, and I disemboweled my mother. He was at 3 Our Fathers, 3 Hail Marys. You don't understand what I was saying. This was really good for a young guy who was embarrassed by having to constantly confess. Then I learned where I lived out in Long Island how to find a parish about 3 miles from I had a bike where I could drive. And I would go to that parish because the guy understood Italian only. But this guy was a little sharper because he knew people were using him for this. He let me get away with it once or twice. He sucked me in the third time I came in. He said, "You think I don't understand what you say? I know what you say. But I'm not going to scare you away by some horrendous penance. You know, you've got it all wrong. We love it that you come here. Isn't this the prodigal son, my friend? Don't you understand? When I was trained in the seminary, I was trained to love you because you sinned. And I have to be more loving to you than the perfect person. And maybe it's possible that you're more honest than the perfect person." Man, that one priest who I have no idea who he is, he was just a priest in the other, he largely changed a large portion of my life and my philosophy. I was about 14 or 15. I got on my bike. I rode home. I didn't stop thinking about that for 3 weeks. And I never stopped thinking about it, as you can see. Mm. So what did Zandami Mandami, Muslim loving terrorist, lover of Muslim terrorists, not terrorist himself. I don't know that he is, but he loves them and respects them. And a hater of Jewish people, for sure, clearly disrespectful of Catholic people when he refused to go to the installation of Archbishop Hicks. I'm sure Archbishop Hicks has forgiven him because Archbishop Hicks strikes me as a very, very good man. But I haven't. Not. Of course I've forgiven him. I just file it away. I start to get an understanding of who he hates and who he doesn't. First mayor in 150 years not to go to the installation of an archbishop of the Catholic Church in New York. First mayor not to go to an Israeli independence parade since they started. First mayor to remove Little Italy from the map of New York. And as I look at the ethnic description of New York, I don't find a place for Italians anywhere. He didn't move them anywhere. I mean, we have a great Italian section up in Belmont, the Bronx. Let me look up the Bronx here. Here's the. Let me go to Manhattan College where I went to school. I mean, I know New York much better than this guy from Africa does. I mean, do you understand that when I got elected mayor, I was the first mayor born in New York and about 4 mayors? And Bloomberg was born in Boston. He went another 12 years. Nobody knew New York. It was like ridiculous. I understood how they made mistakes because I didn't know this city. It's in my blood. Not Koch. Koch was born in New Jersey. Not Dinkins. He was born in New Jersey. Not Mike Bloomberg. He was born in Boston. Wow. This is my city. I was born here. I went to grammar school in New York City. Little time of grammar school in Nassau County. Then back to high school in New York City. College in New York City. Law school in New York City. Practicing law in New York City. An assistant U.S. attorney in New York City when there were so many drug crimes you couldn't count them. Little time in Washington. Back. Practicing law in New York City. Representing people in New York City. Then back to Washington as Donald Trump's number 3 in the Justice Department. But I was uncomfortable with that. I wanted to be back to, I knew I could save it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I went back as U.S. attorney. And then I was mayor of New York. And I lived there until 2 years ago. What are you doing to it? And I don't know, forget Mondami. What a freak. It's you. You don't vote. So now he puts out this map. I don't see Irish on here. I don't see Jewish. Little Italy is removed. Little Italy, you'd say, oh, I mean, that's become kind of commercial. Yeah. Isn't commercial important? Isn't that why people come to your city? You think people come here to go to the little Bangladesh area of Jamaica? How many people come from California and say, we're going to have dinner at the little Bangladesh Center in Jamaica? I've traveled all over the world. I've never been asked, where is the best Bangladesh restaurant in New York? Do you know how many times I've been asked what's the best Italian restaurant in New York? Every time I travel. Or Greek. Mm-hmm. I don't see Greek on here. Let me see. Chinatown. Guyana. Oh, yeah. Where's the best Guyana restaurant in New York? Koreatown. Little Africa. Little Albania. How about big Albania? Little Bangladesh. Little Tibet. Little Caribbean. Little Colombia. Well, that's the place we used to have all the riots during the World Cup in 1994. Little Dominican Republic. Little Ecuador. Little Egypt. No big anything. Little Guyana in the Bronx. Little Haiti. Where's that? Where's Little Haiti? Number 19.
I know Korean is 33rd Street, right?
Oh, where do they have the Haitians? I got to go. Where are they? The Haitians are in Brooklyn. Yeah. They have them in the right place. Okay, sorry. Little India, Little Manila. I didn't actually know we had a Little Manila. They must have 4 people there from Manila. And then another Little Mexico in Port Richmond, Staten Island. But they leave out the rest of the population of Staten Island, which is Irish and Italian cops. They got 2 flags in Staten Island on the coast. It must make up about 4 people. And what they're missing is the Irish Italian population of Staten Island that voted for Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Little Yemen in the Bronx. I'd have no idea we had a Little Yemen. Little Ukraine on 2nd Avenue and Astor Place. Well, that's been there since the turn of the century. Little Senegal, that's new. Little Poland in Greenpoint. Little Poland. It's big Poland, you assholes. There's been a Polish section since my mother lived there. That's been a Polish section since I visited my Italian relatives who live right next to it. That's right next to where Joe Bonanno controlled the whole area, including the Poles. You don't know New York. I do. You don't know shit about New York. You're a bunch of phony terrorists that have taken over a great city. Little Pakistan, Little Palestine. Yeah, right. Little Palestine. Whole group of people that were trained at 2 years old. Death to America. Death to America. Death to America. Oh, maybe some have gone beyond it. But every once in a while, we see them shooting up people and they haven't gone beyond it. Little Palestine. Oh, that's really fabulous. In Bay Ridge. Bay Ridge used to be Italian, Irish actually, Italian and Catholic. Most beautiful Catholic churches. Well, that's hard. In Brooklyn was the borough of churches. Hard to say the most beautiful churches in Brooklyn. I would not want to be in that contest. But Bay Ridge would be one of those. And I have spent, please realize it's really important to me. I had 100 firefighters and police officers, and then 15 more city workers that died while I was mayor. I made it a point to go to all of their wakes and funerals. So I know all the churches, and I know many of the Protestant churches and the Jewish synagogues in New York. I don't know, did they sell a church to the Palestinians who spend their time learning how to kill us? Little Odessa in Brighton Beach. I can see that. Brighton Beach started to become Russian before I was mayor. And it was on its way to being Russian when I was mayor. I really think the Little Odessa is probably just their stupidity. I mean, these are a bunch of totally uneducated products of our New York City public school system who don't know how to write, don't know how to do arithmetic, and don't know how to read. So Odessa, they may think Odessa is right next to Moscow.
It's all by design.
Now we have Little Mexico in Sunset Park, Little Mexico in Port Richmond, which is, they're giving the impression that Staten Island is made up Little Africa in Staten Island and Little Mexico in Staten Island. That's all they have there. The only two flags they have there.
It's almost all Italian.
This thing hasn't voted Democrat in about 30 years. And why is that? You think that's because of the only two little flags we see here? Little Mexico and Little Africa? I got 78% of the vote here. You think it was that where I got the 78% of the vote? There's a whole thing of Staten Island that's empty here. Look, here it is, right here. You see it? Do you see Staten Island? I don't know if you can see it. Right there. That's hard. Only thing they got is out here. Right here. The rest of it, nobody is there. There's 400,000 people there. 80% voted for me. Yeah, they're Italian, Irish, and otherwise New York City firefighters, police officers, workers. They're no different than the middle of Ohio. This is a racist. In any combination of anything, if you wanted to define racism in a way that's going to help us get out of it, this is a racist, highly prejudiced, totally inconsistent with Dr. Martin Luther King or any person who understood how we get ourselves beyond racial prejudice would produce. This is a lie by Mondami. Oh, by far not the worst thing he did. Just one I know much better than he does. I mean, if you want, I can show you. Well, I can just take my pen here. I know this city like here, huh? From the top up here, number 14. Little Dominican Republic. Are you out of your mind? That's Riverdale. How about little Jewish synagogues? Riverdale is filled with Jewish synagogues. I don't see Jewish. New York doesn't have a Jewish population, according to Mondami. Now, this is not reality. This could be a wish list after he gets finished eliminating them all. There isn't an Italian community in New York. There isn't a Jewish community in New York. There isn't an Irish community in New York. I think he may have a Polish, yes. He has one little Polish community in northern Brooklyn. And that's about, he got a Ukrainian community too on the Lower East Side. Other than that,
it's Orwell.
Other than that, it's a non-European population. Chinatown, Guyana, Korea, little Africa, little Albania, little Bangladesh, little Tibet, little Caribbean, little Colombia, little Dominican Republic, little Ecuador, little Egypt, little Guyana, Haiti, India, Manila, Mexico, Palestine. Yeah, Palestine, in which they are mandated to be taught at 2 years old to kill Americans and Jews. Thank you.
Right.
Palestine, Pakistan, major enemy of the United States. 2 mistakes. Little Poland, which is big Poland in Greenpoint, then little Senegal in between, then little Ukraine, and then little Teman. What about big Italy, big Jewish, big Irish, and still big German? Where's that? Now, did they all? I mean, I honestly don't know. I'd have to really. Did they all move out?
I don't know of any Filipino community in Manhattan, in New York, by the way. In New Jersey, in Jersey City, there definitely is.
Is this the creation of a completely dishonest Marxist?
I think so. I think it's Orwell trying to rewrite history, right? Orwellian, I should say.
Right. And as you mentioned, you left out a lot of others too, and it's so obvious what's going on here. It's not.
This is a if you live in New York, what you're looking at is what used to go on. He was taught this. Mandami was taught this in the communist school. What he did here is marginalize you, which was taught to him by Marx and by Engels, and once again, my friend Rob, and converted to an American version by Antonio Gramsci.
Yes.
This isn't his original thinking. This is what communists want you to think.
Yeah, I don't think he's smart enough to even come up with
This is what
that.
the communists want you to think. It's so effing absurd. If you read this, there's no Irish, no Italian, no Jewish, no Greek. What, Astoria, Queens?
Right.
I used to go to Astoria. I still do when I come in. When I come into LaGuardia Airport, half the times I stop in a Greek diner in Astoria, Queens. And then if I have some real time, I go to a legitimate Greek restaurant. The Greek food in Astoria, Queens is some of the best Greek food you're going to get in America. And their cathedral is there, one of their cathedrals. You got 2 there. They've got a cathedral that is connected to the main cathedral in Manhattan, and they have a cathedral for old Orthodoxy. And I met the presiding patriarch of that. They practice Orthodoxy, not connected to Rome. They practice Orthodoxy, but in a more ancient way than the modern Greek Orthodox do. And the modern Greek Orthodox are pretty damn Orthodox. Like it's all in Greek and it's beautiful. And the chanting is, and it's gaining tremendous numbers of young people because young people don't want to belong to these churches that are bullshit. They want to belong to churches that have structure, that actually believe, like, how about a church that actually believes in God and not in some drag queen? How about we have somebody come in and preach about God instead of preach about the benefits of being a drag queen? That might kind of uplift you and your children, huh? This, I would think, I don't know, if I were the governor right now, I considered throwing him out of office based on this map.
Right.
I would have thrown him out of office a long time ago, frankly. What a disgrace. Oh, what a disgrace he is. Then he's got this Chevalier woman.
Chevalier.
The Chevalier woman is like every day something else comes out about her. She just wrote a paper because she's some kind of a make-believe, she's one of these affirmative action intellectuals that they convince, although she's stupid and probably can't write good English, that she's really very intelligent. So she goes ahead and she produces this idiotic analysis that only takes place because you haven't had a classical education and you really don't know how to analyze. So she has come to the conclusion. I can't even understand most of this. That border enforcement in the United States is rooted in anti-blackness and Islamophobia. You know something? It would have been impossible to root border enforcement during Biden into anti-black and Islamophobia. Because do you consider Chinese part of that? What about the Venezuelans who all look white to me? Huh? That's anti-black? Venezuelans, sure. You go tell Venezuelans about Islam and they'll kill you.
Right.
This is like an ignorant statement. It's an ignorant, stupid, ridiculous statement. This thing is going to be in Congress, all driven by anti-blackness. I don't think most of the illegal 12 million, 15, 20 were black. We had no control over it. Who the hell were they? A lot of them that I don't see too many. I don't think Trendiagra is black or Islamic.
Right.
They're just crazy murderers. So this is like craziness. That's so she's based on the support of the mayor of New York. Disgraceful. This possibly the point of mental illness. This person who's now a congresswoman is going to be expressing opinions on behalf of my great city. Wow. So let's see if we can sum things up. There was a ceasefire with Iran over. We're back at, we don't call it war, military action in Iran. And so far, if it were a baseball game, it's something like 8-16, 250-2.
Right.
But according to the Times and a number of the left-wing publications, Iran is winning the war. So you know what the Ayatollahs and all those idiots that are left, and the Ayatollah without a face and an ear and a nose, you know what he's saying? I wish we were losing a war.
Right.
And let's hope the president just, no more stops, no more negotiation. Let's just get it. Whatever is necessary to crush this government, to get it out, and to force Iran if we have to. Believe me, sometimes don't you have to do sometimes very, very radical interventions to save those you love when you know they are committed drug addicts? Well, that's what has to be done here. We have to do a dramatic intervention to save the good Iranian people. And I'm going to tell you, with a great deal of connection to Iran, not as just a quick, they want that. They're praying that we'll do it. Praying. Iranians are finished with this. And I do not think we will be penalized tremendously for liberating them. I know the president, and this is a beautiful thing, is concerned about how much damage he does there. And I really do think he should be careful about how much he does. But I also think the Iranian people are aware of the fact this has to be done and love him for doing it. And I have more than a few contacts inside so that I can say this with some authority. You also should know that the president has very, very much seems to have changed his view on Ukraine. I would say the president, who plays the cards very close to the vest, right, is now looking at it, and for some time has been saying, this is changing. Let's change our strategy a little. So the reports back from NATO is that he and Zelensky, who had this terrible falling out the first time they met, had quite a warm reception. And the president has gone so far as to say, I'm going to give you, he began with saying, I'm going to consider, he got to the point of not quite promising it, but saying it. I'm going to give you the ability to produce Patriot interceptor missiles. Right. That's exactly what they need. The only reason they are winning this war on every front, except getting attacked internally with missiles, some missiles that they cannot now challenge.
So they're taking too many casualties.
Yeah. All they need is a new stock of Patriot interceptors. Those Russian missiles get sent right back into Putin's mouth, which they have been doing all through the war, but we're kind of low on them. So I think he's going to do an immediate help, and then he's going to help them develop factories in Ukraine.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, they can build
with our people.
Yeah,
to develop it, and also the benefit there is with their people, they can show us how to produce drones more quickly, because they produce drones more quickly than we do. Necessity is the mother of invention. And the Ukrainians have become one of the better arms developers in the world. And this whole drone new warfare, about 60% of it can be attributed to them. And I'd ride with them on help. I'd make this trade, and he is. Mr. President, this is a brilliant trade. And it's great. Get over whatever crap with Zelensky goes on. Let's take advantage of it. And by the way, you and I can look at each other and say, we know what's wrong with Zelensky. There's something wrong with everybody. We got to win this war. Kiev is getting hit so hard, it breaks my heart. And you know it does, because you could almost see it, I think, in my interview with the mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, last week. I don't know what they're doing to this great, beautiful city. And it extends to Kharkiv, which is on the Eastern Front, which is a city that I don't know if I've done more work in Kyiv or more work in Kharkiv. I got to know the people in Kharkiv really well, including the people who died, some of whom died. Looking better now. Yeah. Looking better now.
We'll get more updates. We got people.
Well, what do we have? Because we're going to have to sign off now in a short while.
Oh, we didn't touch on Plattner, who's dropped out. So the Democrats.
Oh, who cares about Plattner? Pervert, another Democrat pervert.
Right.
He's history already.
Another Democrat like Biden.
Yeah. So we'll keep on that. Maybe we'll go up to the main Democrat convention in a few
we will. We're going to use Plattner to destroy the Democratic Party in this election, because they're not getting away with just getting rid of him. And this guy Jackson that they got.
Troy Jackson, he was all over Plattner. I remember when I watched some Plattner speeches. Jackson. Yeah, maybe Maine's got a few more.
You think the Plattner is the only?
Yeah, I was
nut?
just gonna say.
You think Plattner is the only nut they've put up? I think if we do a little examination, Ted,
maybe we'll get ahead of that.
There's a lot all around the country. I mean, they're going to anybody who, if you live in this country and you have an ability to do logic, and you let's say you got thrown out and you got to figure out your way around. Don't you have to say to yourself, the key to success in this country is in the entrepreneurial zone, right? The key to success in this country is to work hard. If you have the God-given extra talent to be a creator, use it. If you don't, and you can be a competent worker, you're going to be very valuable, because Rob right here will tell you that he runs several businesses. They're precious right now. Competent workers.
They're almost impossible to find at
there
this
you go.
point.
What did you say?
They are. I mean, I know people probably think it's an overstatement, but I'm telling you that, especially, and this thing is tanking so bad in terms of competent people, that you can literally measure it on an annual basis now. I think if you compare last year with the year before that, you can literally see the downward trajectory. People, I mean, hopefully that changes, but people, they don't even want to work. They don't have the will to do it. They don't see themselves as ever being successful. They don't see light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps. I really don't know what it is. When you have an education system that's purposely attempting to destroy this country from within, I think this is the outward expression.
Anyway, we can show Rob. People should see how intense he is about this.
Yeah, I mean,
there they are. There's my team.
I'm disgusted with it. And you know what disgusts me the most about it is the fact that
I push him really hard, but I love it.
Is the subjects themselves that we're talking about. They volunteer themselves for this stuff. They volunteer themselves for a stupidity campaign. What is it? Easier? They see it as an easy way? I don't know what is so attractive about allowing yourself to become a substandard individual. And I probably would take a lot of heat from saying that.
No. But when you look at these demonstrations, right? Now, I know you can't. I know there's something a little ancient about judging people based on their appearance, right? But you look at these people and they're so dirty and scummy looking. Don't you say, what kind of self-image? Here's the part that I will think is a legitimate, psychological, valid. What kind of self-image do they have?
Right.
If I dress up like a Slav,
Right.
Yeah.
with hair coming out of here, hair coming out of here, hair coming out of here, what kind of self-image? And I'm a woman. What kind of self-image do I have?
Well, it's almost like they're using that to throw it in your face. And then I'm looking at them and I'm saying, what are you throwing in my face? You're the one who's going to suffer as a result of your stupidity and your lack of due diligence and dereliction of duty.
Due diligence?
Yeah.
Democrats.
Oh, that went away a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
Well, they learned hard with Plattner.
If they did due diligence, how did they end up with Plattner? Where did he have his Nazi thing? Here?
Yeah.
Or here?
And they were really going to try to get through all
No,
of that.
I'm going to show you what I have.
I mean, if there are any young people out there listening
I
to
don't
this
have
show,
any Nazi thing here.
you have to understand that this is what's happening to you.
If you look at me, I would several years ago have been arrested for this. First of all, I like the Latin Mass. Don't tell. I think, and they won't give it to me. I want to see if I'm on the list of Catholics that was investigated for going to the Latin Mass. I like the Latin Mass because I used to serve the Latin Mass.
Right.
Intro ibo aratare dei ade qui latifica. So now, if they saw one of these, what would they do? They'd say I was some kind of a what? Sorcerer?
Yeah. What is? Wow.
This is from Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
We'll zoom in.
If you wear this on the hour of your death, you will be given the opportunity to seek forgiveness.
He's zooming in, Mayor.
I'm sorry. I believe that. Now, okay, let's go here. I've worn this every day for 10 years. Before that, I had another one. This was given to me by a very special person. So when they gave me the last rites, the priest who gave me the last rites saw this had been taken off me because I had to go into these things where the metal would. It was before I had this, the other part. And he took it, and when he gave me the last rites, he put it on my chest. And I think that's what saved me.
And of course, the mayor is referring to when he became sick recently.
This is about 3 months ago.
Yeah, less maybe.
Okay, less than that. Finally, I hope I have him. If I don't, I'll be very, very disappointed in myself. I don't go too many places. I don't have him with me.
I'm very happy.
Rosary beads.
Very happy to report that the mayor is. He's doing better now than in all the time I've known him.
I have rosary beads from Pope John. So, okay, these are my beliefs. You can have other beliefs, but I think, and at times I've been a doubter. At times I've been questioning. I've never gotten myself into the point where I've said to myself, I don't believe in God. So please, God, realize that. But I have been a doubter at times, and I've been wondered and not sure. I'm not anymore, not after what happened to me, but which we can talk about some other time. However, I'm going to tell you something. I really believe this, and I talk to all my doubter friends and people who feel that they're too intelligent to believe in God. I say to them, do you understand it's better for you if everybody else believes in? I know you're so smart you don't have to believe in God, which is what Adam and Eve thought also. Okay, I'll accept that. Please don't insult my intelligence to tell me you can prove God doesn't exist, because you can't give me an alternative explanation for the creation of this universe. All you can tell me is, I don't know. Okay. So let's put us both in a position of I don't know. So you either have faith or you don't. And if you don't have faith, okay, you don't. What makes a better world? The vast majority of people believing in God in a very structured, disciplined moral system? Or a vast majority of people who don't believe in God and think I should get all the pleasure, all the enjoyment, all the wealth, all the power over other people that I can get during my existence on earth? And you, my friend, if you haven't come to believe in God, you're better off with a whole group of people that do, because they're going to be under much better control for reasons that cynically you'll see differently. But if you're smart enough, you'll realize that that's better. Now, if you can get to the sublime, you're going to see really why that works. And that's going to take me a while to explain to you. So you can tell me anytime you want that you're an agnostic, and I'll respect you. Well, it's complicated. You tell me an atheist, and I actually think you lack some ability to do critical analysis, because you have no way to disprove the existence of God. Just like I don't have any way to really prove it. I can get you there, but it's grace that takes you the rest of the way. Okay. That's about as complex as we want to get this evening. We're headed off to Boston to see my wonderful son, of whom I am so proud, who's running the security for the Olympics, and they just probably finished one in Boston. So yeah. we're gonna. I hope he is selecting the Italian section of Boston,
right,
for dinner, because I'm well known there, and I feel very confident that, hey, what do I have? Pasta, veal parmesan, a little both. Okay.
Andrew definitely has no problem with due diligence. That man works, let me tell you.
Yeah, he is. He's better than I am.
Yes,
God
he does.
Bless him. God bless him. A great kid.
Well, look at the dad he had.
And then he has a daughter and a wife who's even better than him.
Well, Grace is a star. She's on the show.
Grace is the star of the show. Grace has a store. We're in New Hampshire now for the summer, but Grace has a store in Palm Beach, and you can buy stuff from her.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're probably due for.
I buy the same thing over and over again, and I'm not sure you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can recommend this to you without going to jail, but Well, Mr. President,
Take the order.
I knew you'd get there. You're on the right track with Iran. And this is why you will go down in history as a great president. 47 years of these people killing innocent people and killing Americans, declaring war against America, conducting warlike activities against America. And you're the first president with the,
Gunyans.
yeah, whatever it takes, the love of America that overwhelms everything else.
Yeah.
The ability to consider, I mean, this whole discipline of America first, I think, has been very, very good because it makes you think of what is in the best interest of America first. And then you can consider everything else. And maybe sometimes you can say, not worth pushing it. Other times you can say it is. But should you start from the... I always thought when I was mayor of New York, I was elected to protect the people of New York. So when Clinton cheated us out of $280 million based on using the line item veto, I, as a brilliant lawyer, knew that the line item veto was unconstitutional. Would you like a more complex explanation? I also agreed with the line item veto as a matter of policy, but I also knew you couldn't insert it into the Constitution without a constitutional amendment. So before I was able to get on top of it, because I asked my law department to look at it, and they were afraid. Senator Moynihan, a Democrat, called me. And he said, Mayor, I bet you could describe to me right now what's wrong with the line item veto. Please do it. And I did. I explained to him what's unconstitutional about it. He said, well, you know how much I admire you just based on your knowledge of Mozart. I'll tell you that story sometime.
Yeah.
He said, but I'm going to bring a lawsuit against him. You're entitled to that $280 million. I want to stick Clinton right in the, you know what? I want you to join me. You're a Republican. I'm a Democrat. Imagine that. I didn't wait to go to my lawyers. I said, Senator, you got a partner right now. He and I won that lawsuit against Clinton. We got the $280 million. We got the line item veto declared unconstitutional. As a matter of policy, I was very disappointed. I think it would be better for the fiscal discipline of this country if the president had the line item veto. But he doesn't, and the Constitution doesn't give it to him. And we cannot amend the Constitution without doing it correctly. And it's hard. This is hard to explain to people who aren't. I'm not going to say aren't lawyers. If you haven't got, you can do it another way. You can get yourself steeped into constitutional knowledge. Really important because you should know the parameters in which you exist, and you should stay within them because that's what sustained us. They were put there for incredibly wise reasons that we're not smart enough to remove. And if we are going to remove them, it should be done with a tremendous amount of public debate, understanding. Well, you boys have any questions? So we're ready to go.
Great show. We'll be watching everything here. We got the Maine, what's happening in Maine, of course, Iran, Ukraine.
We're going to see what happens up in Maine, right above us.
Yep.
Right?
That's right. So
I want to challenge our viewers to do a deep dive on communism and Antonio Gramsci in particular.
Oh, I'll do a little dive and then we'll do a big one tomorrow or the next day.
And see how
so Gramsci actually played a very significant role because he adapted, is a better word, not adopted, adapted communism to America where it didn't work. Communism didn't work in America. And there are extraordinarily important communist scholars who recognize this because we were too rich and too successful.
And we loved our culture.
Yeah, we loved America. We're not going to substitute some other culture for Americanism. And the American poor are really not desperate.
So he realized that
but Gramsci said, this division created by Marx and Engels between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. So the bourgeoisie were the rich, upper class people. The proletariat were the working people, everybody else. And that was a division that Marx and Engels used to the end of their lives. That worked a lot in Europe. It worked for the Russian Revolution, worked in China. Didn't work in America because we're a lot richer country than both of them combined.
And we love our culture.
And we love our culture, and we are all really much better off than we think.
Right.
Because we don't never compare ourselves to the rest of the world. I mean, being poor in America is being middle class in India.
Yeah.
But people who are being poor don't quite understand that until push comes to shove. So they tried that in America. That was their first assault with Wilson, early part of Roosevelt. Gramsci realized Gramsci was smart enough to realize it's not going to work.
You can't penetrate. You cannot penetrate a country
he said,
like
but
that.
there are other divisions. There are other divisions we can utilize that substitute for the division of the proletariat and the bourgeoisie being the people in charge, and the proletariat being the general masses. We can do oppressor and oppressed. And we get to define that a little bit as to what that is. So this is how Israel gets turned around, right?
Right.
I mean, Israel began as the oppressed Jews who were seeking refuge in Palestine, Judea, Samaria. Maybe it would have been better if we called it Judea, Samaria. But in any event, this is their home of this is the home of their ancient religion. But somehow over a period of time, which took about 20 years, had all switched, and Israel became the oppressed because they were successful.
The oppressor.
And the Palestinians became the oppression, the people oppressed, because they made no progress. They spent their time massively fixated on killing Jews and Christians, to the point of being trained at 2 years old to kill us. So when you tell me we have a Palestinian community in Brooklyn, I want to know how brainwashed they are. Not because I don't like Palestinians. I'm neutral about anybody. Oh, I want to know, you're going to kill my people. That's what I'm here to protect my people. How crazy are you? So that's the change that he made. He realized it isn't going to work based on wealth in America because we're so wealthy, but it's going to work on the basis of ideology,
right,
because we are very, very suspect with regard to ideology.
So they infiltrated our institutions, and their university professors and the media.
Yeah, this worked.
The university professors and the media teach the young people to hate their own culture, and that's why Charlie Kirk had to be taken out.
This is what worked. And we'll go into this in greater detail. My tie is all messed up.
We'll fix that.
Making all kinds of signs and everything else about my Ted.
Sorry, you had taken it off earlier.
Ted and Rob care a lot about it because they know I like my tie to be in the right place. That's not bad. Okay. So now we're going to say goodnight. We're going to ask you to please come back tomorrow night. We need you. We're at a new time, and really is helpful if you show us that you understand that this happened, that we made this change. So we'll be on at 4:00 on Lindell TV.
Yep.
and on X. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're
And then at
omnipresent.
5 o'clock, we'll be on X and who knows what. YouTube. What else?
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Rumble, Newsmax 2.
And you guys can make us omnipresent by sharing our content every minute, everywhere that you can.
Please. So that we start educating the American people so we can fight back about their desire to take us over.
Yes.
And do not minimize that. That comes from a very responsible source, me.
I agree.
Pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Please, sincerely, pray for the people of Iran who have been taken so much advantage of. Pray for the American people who've been taken so much advantage of. And pray for the sustained wisdom of our great president. He's on the right track. Keep him there. Help him. Assist him. There are tremendous, tremendous influences to go the wrong way. Whether you consider it the operations of the devil or just bad judgment, I don't care what you consider it, that exists in human behavior. Protect him from that. You saved him for us. Now let's give him the success that we desperately need. So with that, let's all say together, God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability